Hey guys, we're back. I don't know why, but we're back. The South Florida Motorsports Online, the podcast. There you go. We're here with my partner in crime, Jeff Brown. This way. I'm sorry. I always look the wrong way. How
Yeah,
you
I know I
doing,
should be
Jeff?
looking this way. Huh? I'm doing great.
There you go. Let's do the Brady
I
Bunch
just
thing.
look straight ahead, and it doesn't matter what side you're on.
Yeah. So, interesting stuff going on this week, especially in Formula One when it comes to news and stuff. I guess we'll start with that, unless something really interesting happened in NASCAR. I don't think anything did, and IndyCar was, um,
Yeah.
no, basically in
So
Formula
we'll
One,
start
the
with
two
Formula
things,
One.
the America's only driver in Formula One is no more Logan Sargent. They finally had enough of him. The man. How good is how well did Logan Sargent did in F1? I have exactly as many championship points as he does.
I guess it's straight to IndyCar for him.
He'll probably be an IndyCar champion in 2 years. So after the race in Holland in the Dutch Grand Prix, and we're in practice, he just tore up another chassis and everything. Williams finally said enough's enough. Sit down, go away. It's nice to know you. And they replaced him with a nice young talented driver named Franco Colapinto from Argentina. He's really Italian from Argentina. Um, he's been running well in Formula Two, and he's racing this week in Monza, which is not the easiest track. It's literally the fastest track on the Formula One schedule.
All
They're like, here you go, don't kill yourself, impress us.
right.
You
Try
got
not to
five.
die.
You got about a half a dozen races to impress us, to impress people, because Williams already has another driver signed for next year. And then just today, we all know that Lewis Hamilton is leaving Mercedes after this season to move to Ferrari, right? And everybody's wondering who's going to get
Yeah.
his seat. Kimi Antonelli, which is, I find extremely hilarious that Lewis Hamilton, a British driver drives from Mercedes, is going to Ferrari, the quintessential Italian team. And so who does Mercedes hire? An Italian driver, Kimi Antonelli, who everybody knew that was pretty much going to happen. He had been signed for Mercedes as a development driver and trainer for years and years. So those are some. Right now, we have two more rich millionaires in Formula One. Because I think that's the starting salary. No, I think the lowest salary in Formula One is 900,000 a year. That was Logan Sargent, so I'm sure these guys are gonna be making close to that, if not more. And
Yeah.
well, that's the main news. They're going to Monza, which is my favorite track, probably my favorite
Well, they
track.
just raced in my favorite track.
Pardon me?
What is it? They just raced this past weekend. That is my favorite track with
Uh,
the banking and
Zandvoort.
they had that gyro camera that shows you the banking of
Oh
the
yeah,
track
yeah,
and
that was
everything.
cool. That was cool.
They've got some high banks. It's I really like that track.
That track is cool too. Not the best track for passing, unfortunately, but it does a split. I would love to drive that track because it looks like it's just up and down like a roller coaster there. I mean, you're going in the banking and everything. It
Yeah,
looks like a fun ride, that's for sure.
looks like an amusement park go-kart track or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Looks like it's a lot of fun, especially that one turn. I can't remember what number it was, but it's got the high banking where you're just it's almost like Bristol, and you're going around.
And as I always found it interesting that usually in the bank tracks, you want to go, if you're trying to pass somebody, you're trying to get some type speed, you sit around like you're usually in the middle of the banking. You don't go way up to the top, and you don't go way down to the bottom. But Formula One, they go way up to the top of the banking for some reason, and I guess they use just a slingshot down into the straightaway.
Yeah.
A fun track. Lando Norris won, as everybody knows. If you don't know that, why are you even listening to us? Uh, um, Interesting. It was an enjoyable race. Ferrari came in third. Um, Monza, I love Monza because it's just so fast, so brutally fast. And also, I mean, it's in Italy. You have all these Italian fans hanging off the rafters, climbing trees to watch the race and everything. It's hilarious because that
They do
track's
love the
literally in the middle.
Ferraris in Italy.
Pardon me?
They do love their Ferraris.
Yes. The track is literally in the middle of a park, of a nature preserve. And so, like, I mean, they wanted to cut down a couple of trees just to make it for some, I forgot it was for some bathrooms. They said, no, 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 just go in a tree somewhere. So you can't really do much around there. They did repave the course, and some drivers are complaining because it's going to be a lot slippier, which to me makes it more fun. It should be an interesting race. Ferrari's a very good. They're saying that Ferrari, they knew they were going to win the championship this year, so they pretty much developed their car to be a high-speed car to do well on high-speed tracks because of Monza. And there's no greater victory circle or victory lane than when a Ferrari wins at Monza. that is a sight to behold. I remember when Fernando Alonso won that. I don't know. It looked like the Pope was giving everybody free passes to heaven or something.
It was one giant orgasm.
Yes, yes. Bells were ringing everywhere. Bells were ringing everywhere. So it should be an interesting race. Looks like Mercedes is the fastest car out there right now. Lando Norris pretty much dominated in Holland. Verstappen still came in second. He's still got a huge 70-point lead. I mean, I think pretty much if he just comes in second or third, or like he's probably going to do the rest of the season, he's still going to win the championship. He can coast to it almost. But I can't see Red Bull just taking it easy and not snatching a couple more wins this season. So should be fun. Anyway, NASCAR.
NASCAR. Harrison Burton, Jeff Burton's son, famous race car driver, now commentator for NBC. His son won the race while he's commentating up in the booth. It's one of those Ned Jarrett, Dale Jarrett moments where the kid wins the race while the father's calling the race up in the booth. And also, I called it last week when I posted that NASCAR has invented flying cars. We had another flying car.
Oh, well.
It got sideways, almost identical to the other one, and went airborne and slid all the way down the backstretch, of which they finally paved, got rid of the grass. So it just slid on its roof all the way down and then stopped on its roof, and they had to sit there and turn the car over, real easy. Like they have a whole system now of chains and pulleys and things that turns the car over nice and gently and sets it down. So they've got a real issue with the air getting under these cars and making them go airborne. Before it was the 200-mile-an-hour threshold. Now it seems to be like 190. If you get sideways and the air gets under the car, you're going up in the air.
I've heard that they're thinking about the roof flaps, adding a third roof flap, or making the two that have.
They did that. They did that from the last race to this one. They made modifications that they thought were going to work, but the exact same thing happened. So they're going to have to go back and relook at that again. I think it's just the car itself. I think it's actually the undercarriage that they have built. It's like a solid, solid floor. And when that air gets under it, it just lifts. So they might have to go back and channel some air underneath of the car. I don't think it really has as much to do with the flaps on the roof as it does to the undercarriage under the car. Just my opinion. Of course, I'm always right. So
there you go. Except when you disagree with me. You mentioned that they paved over the back straight, the infield there. The IMSA fans were apoplectic when they saw that because they missed the grass at the bus stop chicane for the 24 Hours of Daytona. And they're saying now people are going to be cutting that right across there and everything. And what's going to happen? And I'm like, it's a chicane. Who cares?
Well, you have to come to a complete stop or something, don't you? If you shortcut that chicane.
I believe so. They make you do something, and
if you don't stop, then they make you come in to the pits, do a penalty stop.
And then people, how will they police it now? And they go the same way they police it when there was grass there. They have a camera. They look at it. If you cut it, you get penalized. It's the way it's always been.
Yeah.
Yeah, granted, it's not as pretty as it was before, but then again, Daytona was never a beautiful track to begin with. It's not Monza, it's not Spa. It's not Nürburgring. Where it's like in the mountains and beautiful corners and everything. It's a giant bowl in the middle of Florida.
With a man-made lake.
With a rock pit. Yeah.
Yeah. Lake Lloyd.
Oh, that's right. It's called Lake Lloyd. I wonder how many bodies are buried and sunk down the bottom of that lake. Back in the good old days.
Yeah, half of them were drivers before they built a wall around it.
Oh yeah.
They just drive right into the lake.
That and the I like when I go to Daytona. First, when you try to drive into the infield, the tunnel is so tiny. I'm like, how do they get those trucks? Actually, I believe the trucks they just go around the back and over the
One
track.
at a time.
Yeah,
They can't load double lane traffic going in and out like this to just one.
Yeah, it's one way in, one way out, and I don't think a semi could even fit in there and everything. Speaking of which, I don't know if you heard about this. A couple of days ago, there's a team up in Palm Beach County called Rennsport. They're one of the bigger Porsche teams and different types of sports car series. They had their hauler in their car up in Pompano Beach. Somebody stole their hauler with the trailer, with cars and everything. And the last they heard of it was they found the tow rig, down in the Redlands.
That's what I'm saying. Don't look in my backyard.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Jeff.
Don't look in my backyard. I haven't painted it over yet.
They had GPS on the trailer too, but last it pinged was down in the Redlands also. But since then it's kind of dead. So I'm beginning to think that whoever stole it knew what they were stealing. It wasn't just a bunch of guys saying, I'm gonna steal a truck and see what I can get out of it. Looks like a bunch of guys that knew what they were stealing, because they obviously was able to find and shut off the GPS. So if you guys, any of our fans down in South Florida, well, which includes us because we live down there, literally for me to go to Jeff's house, I have to drive through the Redlands. So
I live right on the edge of the Redlands. So you could actually say I'm in the Redlands.
So when you're out there and you're out, maybe your neighbor decided to use your backyard to park a rig for a few days. Hey, Jeff, you mind?
Well, I pulled the race car out, and I'm in the process of filing off the serial numbers now. Need a quick paint job.
If you see us, drop us a line, and if you see that anybody sees it down there, just drop us a line and we'll make sure it gets to the right authorities. I heard Rennsport's offering a reward too, so you might be able to make some money there. So if you want to rat out your friends, there you go.
Okay. I'll keep my eye. What you say? It's a Porsche?
It's a Porsche team. So I think they didn't say exactly what was in the truck, but they said a lot of stuff was in the truck. So it's probably a Porsche too, plus all the equipment. This is a top flight team. That's probably over $1 million or more in equipment and just tools and parts and everything. This is a full blown factory Porsche team. So there's a lot of stuff in there, not even just value of the products itself that's there, but the time and investment and labor. I would suggest, if I was thinking about it, I probably suspect that anything that was on that truck's probably already on a freighter heading out of here, out of the United States. Because really, it's not exactly a huge community out there. If you show at a racetrack with a Porsche race car, all of a sudden people are going to ask questions like, where'd you get it? Even like when you need parts or the Porsche people, everybody's going to be looking at everybody's Porsche suspiciously anyway. If somebody shows up in a new car. So
that's why you have to file the serial numbers.
Then they'll wonder why you filed off the serial numbers. So there's really
that was an accident. I was doing my nails and accidentally filed the serial numbers.
So it's probably already been parted out and cut up into pieces and in a container in a freighter, heading somewhere either down to South America or the Middle East or Asia or someplace. But you never know. Maybe they took it and it's just they're laying low and it's in the backyard somewhere in the Redlands. So, what else happened in the world in the racing? IndyCar had a race in Portland.
Yeah,
Did you watch it?
Yeah, the only thing I really take from that race is that Romain Grosjean is a complete idiot.
You just figured that out today, Sunday.
I mean, just a long list of on-track stupidity from this guy.
Right.
Although he was, when he was in Formula One, he did have like the coolest moment of all time in Formula One where he crashes the car and they zoom in and it's just a giant ball of flames and wall of flames, and you think, oh my God, he's burning up in there, and all of a sudden through the flames comes strolling out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was pretty badass. Yeah,
but other than that, he's a pretty crappy driver that went where all the Formula One drivers go to die, where their careers go to die, which is IndyCar.
Pretty much. And if you didn't see it, just to put it simply, he spun out. He's sitting on the side of the track, off the main part of the track, and he decides to go back on the track. And it's like, is he going to wait for some space in between traffic to be able to do it? No, he's Romain Grosjean. So he's just going to jump out there and almost cause an accident. And he goes, well, if I did that once and went okay, I think I'm going to do it again.
Do it twice. You can be excused one time.
Yeah.
But twice?
You think the guys and his team were going, don't do that again. Don't do that again. You're going to do that again, aren't you? And he does it again and causes a major accident.
Well, he thought he was the only one on the track, so he had all day.
That was bad. To me, what really ticked me off was when Scott Dixon and Pietro Fittipaldi came together. Scott Dixon, somebody else went off course, and he decided to get back on course right where Pietro Fittipaldi was going through in the corner, and they come together. Dixon gets shoved off the course again into the wall. He's out of the race. And then IndyCar, I don't know what race they saw. They decided to penalize Pietro Fittipaldi. The poor guy was just running. He was on the line. He was just going, and then Dixon comes in. But Scott Dixon's fart don't smell, according to IndyCar, and anything he does is okay by us. I like Scott Dixon, an incredible driver, one of the greats. But come on.
Yeah, the favoritism for him is just incredible.
Yeah,
and basically, he's like the biggest name. That's the problem with IndyCar right now, is they don't have big names anymore.
No,
back in the day they had Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt and Danica Patrick, all these big names. Well, Danica Patrick, but there were names that you could go, see. Now it's Will Power.
Oh yeah, if
Newgarden,
back in the 80s and 90s, if I said name an IndyCar driver, people would say Andretti, Foyt, even Mears, Unser, stuff like that. Today, when I go name of the driver who's been three-time IndyCar champ in the last 4 years, nobody would know. Nobody would think to say Alex Palau. Nobody's heard of him.
Yeah,
great driver, amazing driver, but nobody knows who he is. And they always do the survey at the end of the year amongst the fans, who's their favorite driver. Guess who the favorite driver of IndyCar is? Nice guy, talented driver. You're not going to believe it. You'll never guess.
I'll never guess.
Pato Award.
Okay. Oh, Pato.
Yeah. Nice guy, decent driver. Have you seen anybody walking on the street with a Pato Award t-shirt?
And the Indianapolis 500 would have had terrible ratings if not for Kyle Larson coming over from NASCAR.
Yeah, he brought
your biggest name is a NASCAR guy that comes in and races one race.
He didn't. He brought us some numbers. The Indy 500 is still always going to be their number one draw. It always will be. The money's there. I mean, you win the race, you win over $2 million in cash and prizes and everything. It's a huge event. But other than that,
And a quarter mil.
The rest of the series is morbid Monday, as they would say, and races like this week is a doubleheader in Milwaukee, which is another track I don't understand why they're going there. Everybody talks about tradition. Tradition doesn't sell tickets. So tradition doesn't bring in 15-year-old fans. The future, it keeps Bubba, 65-year-old retiree, happy, but doesn't bring in any fans. And Milwaukee, the track is less than a mile, and that's just too small for an Indy car.
It's the Milwaukee Mile, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's actually 0.9 something.
They can't even tell the truth about the length of the track.
Yeah, well, it's like weird. NASCAR says a certain one length, and IndyCar says another length. Nobody's gotten it straight since. So,
well, the NASCAR runs in the upper groove, and then the IndyCar runs down on the bottom, so they're taking less distance.
Yeah, but when they race at St. Louis or Iowa, it's still the same length of track, whether it's NASCAR, IndyCar. They actually measure the track.
With your odometer.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I just had to shift positions. I was getting a little uncomfortable.
This weekend we're gonna have IndyCar racing, NASCAR, Formula One, even I believe World Sports Car even racing this weekend. So we're gonna have plenty of stuff to talk about next week because it's finally ramping back up, all the series and everything. So I guess we're gonna finish it up.
Weekend.
Yep. So I figure we're gonna wrap this up this week. Hit the like button. Give us some comments. Make fun of Jeff. Make fun of me because it's playing to make fun of me. That's for sure. Yeah. By X. There's your crypto XYO. We have to get them to sponsor the show. What do you think?
Yeah, let's contact them.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I'm still waiting for you. I see those guitars behind you. I'm still waiting for our theme song.
I'll get right on that.
And I'll go ahead and still getting used to this. I'll see if I can change that message because I don't even think my mom watches us.
Come on, Mom.
I've got a couple ideas. Most of them revolve around Lee Diffie. I'll surprise you next week.
Well, Lee Diffie, for some reason, was calling the NASCAR race.
Yeah, that's why I didn't watch it. But somebody told me what to do. Somebody told me what to do. Put on the NASCAR racing TV, mute it, and listen to NASCAR radio.
Yeah. Problem is, you have to get NASCAR radio online because they don't broadcast anywhere in South Florida anymore.
Yeah. So, I'm sure they live stream it somewhere on Sirius or something. All right, guys, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, give us some comments. You can watch us on YouTube. You can hear us on whatchamacallit, radio. And we'll see you next week. We'll have some better stuff for you then. We better. I don't think we have much of a choice.
Hey, this was one of the best shows ever.
I enjoyed it. So see you again next week.
Southern 500.
Pardon me?
Darlington Raceway. Darlington Southern 500.
Watch this one.
That's right, guys. The oldest race in NASCAR.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They've been running it for over 50-something years.
Yeah, because the first races were in Daytona, but they didn't build a speedway till later. Late 50s. So, all right, we'll catch you then. So see you guys later next week. Same bat channel.